Good morning, students. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. For our today's lesson, we begin with lesson number 1 here in our Kyokasyon ay Japanese language learning, or the least reference books Japanese language learning platform. As an introduction, since we are on lesson number 1, we first focus, we don't easily jump up to the hardest part, which is the conversational part, but rather we would like to focus first on reading and writing. Yes. For today, we will just for today and for the following lessons, we will just focus on the writing system, reading and writing. Of course, if you know how to read, then it is expected that in a short amount of time you can also write. You can read and you can write. But take note, in the following lessons, I want you to focus to our stroke system. I want you to memorize the stroke system. You have to memorize the directions and orders of strokes. Later on, we will deal with that. But first, for the writing system in our Japanese language, or nihongo. In nihongo, or Japanese language, we have 3 kinds of writing system. I will first start at there are three kinds, remember, and the first 2 will be the easy part, and the third one is actually the hardest and the most nerve-wracking part of learning the writing and reading of the Japanese language, or nihongo. The first 2 of those 3 writing systems are Hiragana and Katakana. Okay, as you can see in this reference, I have highlighted in yellow the Hiragana and Katakana. Hiragana and Katakana is the foundation and the basic form of writing in Japanese language, or nihongo. Every time there's a beginner and wants to ask me, where should I start, sensei? Where should I start? I always recommend that first you spend about 1 to 2 months studying the Hiragana and Katakana, because this is the basic. In Japanese, there are 50 sounds, or goju-on, or 50 sounds. Those 50 sounds are actually the 50 syllabaries, or 50 types of syllables that you will be hearing in almost all of the Japanese speaking or Japanese language, or conversational, or kaiwa. So, as I've said, we have 2 kinds of writing, the Hiragana and Katakana. Hiragana and Katakana are actually reduced part or simplified parts of Chinese characters. Yes, Hiragana and Katakana are derived from Chinese characters. These are derived to form a phonetic script. When you say phonetic script, it is a form of syllabary, or forming a syllables. Later on, these Chinese characters we are referring here, we will deal with that. It's called kanji, or in China they call it as kangxi, but in Japan they call it as kanji. So remember that in China we call it kangxi, Kangxi, but in Japan we call it kanji, Kanji. We have, as written here, we have 2 set of sounds in the Japanese language called Hiragana and Katakana. Students, I want you to take a screenshot of these charts. These are the hiragana. Okay, these are the hiragana. As you can see, as you go down the row, you can notice that the vowels used are in the order a, i, u, e, o. You can also search this hiragana and katakana in Wikipedia. I will read from left to right. I will read from the leftmost column, and then leftmost column from the topmost to the bottom, and then from left to right. Okay, so the first one is N, the N, and then the W. In Japanese characters, in W we only have wa and wo. You only have wa and wo for the W. For the single N, actually the letter N is the only single character existing in Japanese. So the others are usually either in twos or in threes. That's for one syllabary or one syllables. So N or N, when you hear it in Japanese songs, it's or or the wa and the wo, and then we go to the column of R. That's ra, ri, ru, re, ro. In Y, also the same as W, we only have two syllabaries. Sorry, that's rather three. Ya, yu, yo. Ya, yu, yo. In column M, it's five. It's five. So that's I will read from top to bottom. Ma, mi, mu, me, mo. Ma, mi, mu, me, mo. So as I have said earlier, you have to take note of that sequence of vowels. It is always like this. You begin with A, then followed by I, then U, then E or E, then O. So for column M, it should be read as ma, mi, mu, me, mo. For column H, that's ha, he, and who. It's not who, but this has a special sound. You don't pronounce it as who, but fu, fu, fu. Then he or ho. This he, when used as a particle or an article, it is not actually pronounced as he, he, but it almost sounds like as in without the h. So again, for column H, ha, hi, hu, he, ho. For N, na, ni, nu, ne, no. For T, column T, that's we don't have a TI. We don't have a TI for the Japanese language, but rather the TI is converted into chi. Ta, chi, tsu, tsu, tsu. We have no TU in Japanese. Tsu, tsu, te, to. And we also in Japanese we don't have that shi. We don't have the SI, but the SI is rather written as SHI or shi. So that's sa, shi, su, se, so. For the column K, that's ka, ki, ku, ke, ko. Ka, ki, ku, ke, ko. So as you have seen, as you have observed, I always go with that order. A, I, U, E, O. So the counterpart for those syllabaries with consonants, that's ka, ki, ku, ke, ko. And this one, the last column, is for the vowels. It's A, I, U, E, O. A, I, U, E, O. So later on, you will realize the importance of taking cognizance or complying with that kind of order, A, I, U, E, O. And this kind of chart is also called the goju-on, or 50 sounds. Goju meaning 50, goju 50, and the on sounds. So for this kind of chart, this is what they call goju-on, or 50 sounds. Because if you later on, if I will introduce to you the Dakten and the hand Dakten system of writing, you will realize that there are actually 50 sounds. So, and the purpose of those sounds is to distinguish the different tones and different intentions in Japanese syllabary. We have different tones and intentions. So please screenshot this chart. This is called for the Hiragana. And for the Katakana, it is a much simpler sound for the Katakana. For the Katakana, okay. For the Katakana, please screenshot this chart. This is also parallel with the chart. This is parallel or similar with the chart I have just shown you a while ago. The one that I have shown you is called Hiragana, but this time this is Katakana. Now I want you to take to what are the usage of this Hiragana and Katakana. First is to write the basic. First is for writing in basic terms, writing the Japanese syllabary or nihongo syllabary. And for Hiragana, this is the basic. This is the if you're not familiar with kanji, then at least you could write with Hiragana. And Hiragana is also used for kunyomi. If you will tackle, or if you will discuss, though that is for a separate lesson. If we will discuss the kunyomi and onyomi, the Hiragana is used for the kunyomi, or the native Japanese sound of a kanji. The Katakana is used for the onyomi sounds of a kanji. And aside from that, the Katakana is also used for gairaigo, or foreign borrowed sounds. Just like, have you heard this kind of sounds? Kontorora, preya, computer, pasokon, computer, kontorora, or say Doragon ball. So if Japanese were to pronounce gairaigo or foreign words, this gairaigo or foreign words, these are words that that on normal basis or in earlier times doesn't exist in the Japanese language, like the English, Italian, Spanish, Filipino words, German language, Russian, and other foreign countries' language other than Japan. So it's called gairaigo, or foreign borrowed words. If you are to write foreign borrowed words or gairaigo, the customary is to use the katakana. And katakana, as I have said, is also used for reading for displaying or manifesting or for explaining the onyomi of kanji. And the hiragana, as I have mentioned also a while ago, is for explaining or showing in details the kunyomi readings or kunyomi sounds of kanji characters. So what again is kunyomi? Kunyomi sounds or kunyomi readings are the native readings of a kanji. So I will show you an example of a manual. This manual is being used in a game console. So as you can see, this manual, as I've said a while ago, we have three kinds of writing, right? The kanji, hiragana, and katakana. As you can see here, this is a combination of kanji, hiragana, and katakana. This one is a katakana. You see that? Except for that 8 and 17, it's katakana. This one is, let me just highlight. Okay, this one, the highlighted part, is the hiragana part. And do you see those small characters above the kanji characters? Those are called furigana. Furigana is not, don't get scared, furigana is not another type of writing, but furigana are just simply kana writing systems, or hiragana, katakana, kana writing systems placed above a kanji character or kanji characters to explain the reading, so that readers may have the appropriate and correct reading for the particular kanji character or kanji characters. So don't get scared of these characters. Later on separate lessons, I will be discussing these kanji characters one by one. And as you know, in the Ministry of Education in Japan, they teach about 2,138 kanji characters, or probably beyond 3,000 characters. In China, they have about 25,000 to 30,000 kanji characters, and Japan only borrowed about 5,800 of them. And among those 5,800 kanji characters, the most commonly used, I mean, when you say commonly used, just enough for when you manage to learn those characters, it is enough for you to read newspapers and textbooks and other documents. The most commonly used are just 2,138 commonly used kanji characters, or joyo kanji characters. So let's go back to that previous presentation. This is just an example of a manual of a gaming console. I'm not promoting any gaming console here, so just to give you an example, even if you are doing you want to sing via a karaoke, and you see those katakana, hiragana characters placed on top of those kanji characters, it's helpful, right? Those are called furigana. Also, in some documents, like in this manual, you can see that the furigana is like an explanation for a kanji character. But take note, when you are in Japan, not at all times that you will be seeing furigana. And there are no subtitles if you are already in Japan, let's say Tokyo, and you are or just simply strolling around the streets looking for restaurants and looking at the menus at the restaurant. Unfortunately, there are some restaurants that don't have furigana, and unfortunately, reality bites, there are no subtitles. So it is a plus that you manage to learn the things, but we will go through this in our upcoming lessons. So going back to the previous presentation, okay, so I'll give you an assignment. First, as a beginner student, first, please screenshot this hiragana characters. You can also search this in Wikipedia. Just type hiragana and katakana. For the first, I would say for the first 6 weeks, I want you to memorize. Yes, memorize these characters. And then before we close this lesson, I want to end this lesson with this last segment of this section, or this part. the Hiragana and Katakana subsection. I want to close this lesson with, I want to introduce to you this topic, the concept of dakten and handakten. This reference by Takim, he called it as muddied sounds. Muddied. Okay, so as you can see there, dakten form, and the handakten or partially dakten. The dakten form, you can see in dakten form, when you apply it at the dakten symbols and the dakten symbol and the handakten symbol is placed on the upper right part of a kana writing system. When I say kana, it's either hiragana or katakana. It is placed on the upper right, but not all hiragana, not all katakana are compatible with this dakten, or should I say, there are some characters that it is inappropriate for you to place those dakten symbols, dakten and handakten symbols. So let us see for this example, he called it as voiced or muddied sounds. So just like for example, if remember the column for H, if you place a dakten, the dakten, as you can see, it's like a quotation mark. It's like a quotation mark leaning on the left side. So the ha becomes ba, the he becomes bi, the hu becomes bu. It's like imagine bu, or budo, bunshin, and the he becomes be, the he becomes be, and the ho becomes bo, as in botan, ho, bo. And if you place the handakten symbol, the handakten looks like it is a superscript of 0. Just imagine a superscript, a circle superscript on the upper right part of your kana character, kana or hiragana katakana. If you superscript a circle part on that upper right, it becomes a muddied sounds or handakten part of that sound. So the previously ha, just like for this, the previously ha becomes pa, the ha becomes pa, the he becomes pi, the hu becomes pu, the he becomes he, the ho becomes ho. And also for other, you can see other columns, there's a D, there's a Z, and there's a G. Those G sounds actually came from the K sounds. So the K sounds, if you place a dakten, becomes G. The S sounds, when you place a dakten, it becomes Z. The letter T or ta, chi, te, chu, the T sounds, when you place a dakten, becomes D or da, zi, z, de, do. So okay, running out of time. So on the next lesson, I will show you how we can form dynamic sounds. We call this as dynamics. How we can form dynamic sounds with the use of small ya, small u, and small yo. But for your assignment for the upcoming weeks, please, I want you to first screenshot and download the katakana, hiragana part and memorize them. Yes, memorize them. It's hard. Even I had a hard part memorizing them. It took me more than two months to memorize them, or probably 2 months. But perhaps some of you are geniuses. You can memorize in less than 1 month. For our next lesson, for lesson number 2, we will be discussing the dynamics, or what is the use of this small ya, small u, and small yo when we combine it with our kana system. When we combine with our, when I say kana, either I refer to hiragana or either I refer to katakana. So there's a dynamics when you combine the small ya, the small u and small yo. There's a dynamic on sound. So we'll deal with that on our next session. So thank you for your time, students. This is again Vin Sensei, and I hope that you've learned something today. and please focus on your assignment, and I will leave our lesson with with an old quotation. They say that a master emerges when the student is ready, and some others say that the teacher only opens the door. What goes through the door is the student. So you must also do your part, okay? Okay, we'll see you then. Okay, bye bye. Till next lesson. Bye bye.